Hi, this is Awi, head of content at contentmarketking.com. And recently, I was at the airport here in the Netherlands, and I met this lovely lady from Canada who was traveling to Amsterdam with her brother. And we got talking, and she told me that she works for Bracelet of Hope back in Canada, an NGO that helps women in Lesotho who have HIV/AIDS to cope with life and taboo. They're doing a really good job. And if you want to know more about them, please check out the link I put in the description below. Now, as we got talking, she asked me what I do. So I told her I'm a content marketing expert. And then she said, well, uh, I am coincidentally the community outreach manager, and I'm in charge of creating content and distributing it. And I find it, together with my team, really difficult to come up with new content ideas day after day after day. So now I hear this and I'm thinking, in the past 10 years, talking to small businesses, I've heard this so many times. And unfortunately, this is the single biggest threat to your content marketing, with extension to your marketing efforts as a whole. Because once you run out of things to tell or talk about with your audience, you're finished, you're irrelevant, you're dead in the water. So I gave her some advice, and I would like to share that advice with you today. Now, the main advice is simply involve your audience. Now, as soon as I said this to her, I could see her eyes brighten up and she wanted to know more. So I'm sure you do too. So, number one, how you involve your audience. Number one, starts where everything else starts, with research. When you do your research, don't just rely on data. Data is fantastic, but go and talk to your audience members face to face, as many as you can, face to face. And believe me, you will be surprised. You will be surprised at how much information and the quality of information that you get that data missed out on. Now, this already gives you a platform to start coming up with content ideas. So don't be shy, go face to face. They will appreciate it and you'll get treasures. Believe me, you will get treasures. And number two is hang out where they hang out. And this could be forums, for example, where your audience goes there to express their frustrations and problems and what solutions they are looking for. Now, you come here to listen. You come here to listen in so that you know how they express themselves, the language usage, the style, the words that they use. So you can take all of that, and when you create content, you use similar language. Now, if you do step one and two, you will create content that resonates with your audience. Now, what happens when your content resonates with them? It brings me to point number three. You get feedback, right? And what happens when you get feedback? What do you do with that feedback? This is what I call the king's conversation, because this is truly what makes content king. And the king's conversation goes like this. So I know she's from Canada, this lady, right? So I create a piece of content talking about the best places to visit when in Canada. Let's say 12 places to visit when in Canada, right? Now, because the content resonates with the audience, you're almost guaranteed, not almost, you are guaranteed feedback. You will get comments and questions and so forth. Now, let's say you get an overwhelming number of comments about tip number 7, which is about restaurants. So you realize there is something in it. So you research a bit more about the restaurants, you create another piece of content about restaurants, maybe 100 restaurants to visit if you're living in Canada, for example, right? And from that, maybe you get a lot of comments about a cuisine that you mentioned in the blog or the video, a cuisine that you mentioned that is served at a certain restaurant. So maybe you create another video or another blog post on how to cook the three best cuisines Canada has to offer in the comfort of your own home, right? So that's how it goes. It becomes a back and forth conversation, and it is really powerful. If you look at a lot of brands, a lot of small businesses, especially, they put out monologues that nobody is engaging with. The King's Conversation is something you should really, really do. Number four is a well known one. It's user generated content. Basically, you ask your audiences to, you entice them to write reviews and recommendations, but also writing contents on social media, for example. This is coming from your audience, the people who use your service, the people who use your product. So it's genuine and it's free content for you. So one, two, three, and four have to do with involving your audience. Number five is a side note: repurpose your content. If you have blog posts, if you have white paper, ebooks, chop them up, create videos, create infographics, post them on social media, and you're done. Believe me, if you do the things that I have told you to do, or if you, if you incorporate it, integrate it into your content strategy, there is absolutely no way, and I'm looking straight into your eyes and telling you this, there is no way you are going to run out of things to talk about with your audience. There is no way you will run out of ideas, new original ideas for content. Just remember, always use a content calendar so you don't get lost in what you're doing. And I have put a link below where you can download a content calendar for free. You can edit it the way you want. And the last thing, and also very, very important, please measure. Measure so that you know what's working and not working, to save you money, to save you time. So basically, that's it. I would like to thank you for your time. Please, if you have comments, I appreciate it. Comment below. And this has been Always Suleiman from contentmarketking.com. Thank you.